Well, good afternoon. Happy Monday, everybody. It's Araya here, and boy, it's sort of gloomy and gray out here in Reno. I don't know how it is for you, but the winter blues are setting in, and uh, excited for the holidays. But wow, sometimes it's hard when you just continuous gray and feel like it's hazy out there, and it's Monday, and all kinds of things are just sort of piling up. Where do you go from there? So hello. We're talking about surrender, divine guidance, following your heart. I did a live a while back, and let me just introduce myself for those of you that don't know me. My name is Araya Anra. I'm a psychic medium, energy healer, and life coach. And I like to come on live every week to just talk with you guys what's going on in my journey, what's going on in yours, and answer questions or give feedback on a way to stay aligned, a way to stay in tune with your higher self. So one of the things that's been coming up for me is that aspect of, all right, surrender. How do I stay in the flow? And being impatient. The holidays tend to get us all wrapped up in so much to do, so much activity, a sense of overwhelm, a sense of where have I lost myself? How do I find time for me and all this chaos? And there's a lot to do at work. There's a lot to do at home. The kids have tons of things at school. And this is where we have to just drop into surrendering and continually come into our heart. So I actually did a live a little while back on surrender, and somebody who watched it said, wow, I'd love to hear you talk about that on a different tangent, or really go into that again. And so I feel like that's part of what is coming up for me today is that aspect of our inner guidance of how, we've got guides, we've got to surrender to the flow of it. We've got to surrender to the information that they're trying to get to us. And how do we do that? It's very hard. A lot of people think, oh, I'm not empathic. How can I hear my guides? I don't hear those voices. I don't meditate. I don't know what to do. And my suggestion, or what I find is the easiest way to get there, is to watch where you get in anxiety. Watch where your day starts to run away from you. Watch where you get into high emotions, and just stop and breathe. And that's where you need to surrender to the moment. So that's the first piece, is just surrendering and saying, okay, I can see myself. Witnessing ourselves, catching ourselves consciously in our patterns is what's going to help change them. So consciously seeing, whoa, I'm in overwhelm. Whoa, I'm in anxiety. Whoa, I'm in fear. Whoa, I'm stepping into a pattern that I don't like again. How do I get out of that? And when you just surrender and say, okay, drop in and see it, then you can allow yourself to feel and drop into your heart. So the key is to get out of the mind. The mind is what keeps us in overwhelm. It keeps us in exhaustion. It keeps us in way too many things on the plate of feeling like grind. It's all going. I guarantee if you can stop in that moment and drop into your heart, drop it down, just breathe it out, get down into the heart center. And when you're there, reevaluate, what am I doing right now? Maybe I feel like I have a list of a million things to do. What on that list is really in my heart right now that it's calling me? For me, it was coming on to do a live right now. I don't always come on and do the live if I'm not inspired by it. I like to be consistent in my schedule, but I have started allowing that flow in my life of, I'm not feeling right now, so it's not going to benefit anyone right now. That's the mindset we need to get into, is if I can follow my heart in every moment, I know I'm going to be in the flow, and I'm going to bring the most benefit to me and to anyone that is a part of what I'm doing. So for example, you've got a list of to-dos, and maybe one of those is I need to write a letter to the principal of the school, or I need to get this project done, or I need to get this thing built over here. If you're not inspired, and I just guaranteed I've done this, gone through it, if you're not inspired by it, like say I had to create a marketing piece or a graphic piece for one of my programs, it can take me, if I'm pushing it, if I'm saying, oh, I've got a deadline, I've got to get it done right now, it can take me 8 to 12 hours to do something that if I'm pushing and it's just not coming and the flow isn't there and I'm just not inspired and yet I'm forcing myself to do it, one, it takes me at least 3 times as long, if not more. It comes out not exactly with the right energetic behind it, and it doesn't have that frequency of my heart in it that everything else would. So if I allow that to be on my list of to-dos, and yet maybe it takes a couple weeks, it actually took almost 2 months for me to actually find within me the impetus to get a graphic created for my new program. And then when I did, it flowed very easily and quickly. I actually woke up and went, oh, I'm going to hire a designer to do this through Fiverr. Wow, fabulous idea. And this guy was amazing. He gave exactly what I wanted. I didn't have any time spent, I had very little money spent, and it was off my to-do list. Sometimes I'm inspired and, well, I need to write something. Okay. If I wait until I feel the flow, it can take literally 20 minutes to an hour when it would take 6 to 8 if I push it and force it. So those are just many examples that I know you can apply for what's going on for you. Maybe you've got something that needs to be fixed, and some fix-it things around the house or the car are sort of immediate. They need attention right now, and maybe that's where your heart's calling you because it's just going to make everything flow easier. But if it's not, and it's not flowing easily, maybe you need to let someone else do it. Maybe you allow it to be there for 10 days, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you know exactly what you need to do. Sit with it rather than forcing it. Allow the inspiration and the ideas to come of how to get through that puzzle. Because that also is what our guides are trying to align us. They're trying to align the easiest flow for us to move forward. So there's your divine guidance. And how are our guides doing that? How can you hear that? If you follow your heart and drop in and just feel what's going to bring me joy in this moment. What's going to be what aligns me the most with feeling good in this moment. Maybe it's to go shopping. Maybe it's to get that project done. Maybe it's just sit and play with your kids. Maybe it's to do nothing at all and read a book or just meditate. Maybe it's to go for a walk. Whatever your heart's wanting right now is putting you in the flow. When you're in the flow, you can hear your guides. And your guides are almost always the same voice as your heart. Yes, they will give you extra information when you can hear them more clearly, but I guarantee if you start listening to your heart and dropping in and just allowing yourself to go, okay, this is what feels good in my heart right now in this moment. And then my life is easy, it's in flow, it's in grace, and I can breathe. I'm not anxious anymore. I'm not in overwhelm anymore. And when you're in that quiet space centered in your heart, quite often you get intuitive hits about something else that are actually your guides trying to speak to you. So maybe something drops off the shelf right in front of you, and it's a book that is either something you've been meaning to read, something that you thought about a while ago, and it's re-triggering that, and you went, oh, aha. And that's coming back in. That's how your guides speak to you. They will use little cues and signs all around you or other people. Maybe a phone call comes in, a text message, an email. When you're in that space and the aha hits you and you go, oh, okay, that's where I need to go next with that thing. So allow that. They do interweave, that surrender, that divine guidance, that inner voice in your heart. And all of it comes from dropping down into the heart. And I found that life is so much slower. Life is so much easier and in flow, and you have to learn. Some of us are very much slave drivers. We're very much about production and productivity, and that truly is the old way of doing things in the very patriarchal way of doing things in the world, and that is deconstructing right now. Since this period of entering the sacred union and the openness of male and female coming into balance, we're in a phase where that is deconstructing within our beings. So you'll find yourself even like struggling with making that list, making that schedule, having to follow it, and wanting to balk against it. When we know it's not in our highest and best good, we fight against it, right? We resist it. Sometimes we resist things that actually are in our highest good because they bring us so much fear to actually go into. So there's two sides of that coin. But if you keep flowing forward and following, and you allow to drop into the heart, then that deconstruction of the old way of doing things, I was one of these. I had a list and I would be in overwhelm all the time because I couldn't get to it all. And now if something doesn't get done, it's in divine perfection that it isn't done, and it will be done when it's supposed to, when my heart says, I want to do this. I'm going to actually get filters for my heater today because I'm inspired by that today. Probably because they look gross, and I heard a thing on the radio about the furnace and how much better it works when you change the filter, and went, oh my gosh, I haven't changed mine in a while. Thank you for that little tidbit on the radio, guys. So, I get that inspired. And so now I'm excited to go to Home Depot. It's not going to be a drag. It's not going to be a, oh, I have to. It's a, oh, this is great. I'm excited to do this. My heater's going to work a lot better. All those little things play up together for us. So allowing that, I want to pull a card for us today because I love my cards. I love when the angels speak to us. And I know that on this subject of whether or not you're able to drop in, surrender, and just hear the heart voice, hear the voice of your heart, which is the way that your guides speak to you the most. I know your angels have something to say about that. So let's feel into everybody that's going to be watching this replay and who's on right now with me. Hello, hello. Glad to see you guys here. And let's just feel. So we've got the 5 of Michael calling us. And Michael says, this situation doesn't serve you. Release your attachment to the outcome. Consider taking a more uplifting approach. Now, if that isn't right on the money, the way you're handling it right now isn't working. It's putting you in overwhelm, anxiety, fear, whatever it is. Time to try a different approach. Drop it down into the heart. Drop out of the headspace, drop it into the heart, and see what leads you from there. I love that Michael's bringing that up. And I love this other deck as well. This is my new Oracle, Stellar Oracle deck from France. And so it does take me a minute sometimes because I'm translating the French, but I'm going to go ahead and pull the card. Allowing this one to speak to us. It's way back here at the very edge. Beautiful image. I'll let you just see that image if that speaks to you. And to me, just looking at that image, it feels like alignment. We've got an alignment of stars right across the center of there. And it says, stellar origin. Your capacity to receive is the key to activate the light codes and rediscover the memory of your origins. Your capacity to receive is the key to those codes within you to rediscover your origins. So rediscovering your origins, that's part of connecting to your guides, your inner guidance, reconnecting with your truest self. And so the key to that is in being able to receive. How do we receive? We receive when we're in the heart, dropping down into the heart. So that's where your keys and codes are going to be to actually get to that place of remembering who you be, connecting to your higher self and your truest desires. Because I guarantee you the list of all the stuff that's the worldly stuff to do, granted, some of it has to be done. But if it's not in alignment with your truest desires of what your soul is wanting to accomplish and do, and maybe going and getting filters is something my soul is saying, yeah, when you're warm, you're more creative. So let's get the heater working really well. And so that you can be in a space later in the wee hours of the morning, sitting in a cozy place when you're in meditation and allow really divine intervention to come in or divine inspiration to come in. And wow, they all line up like that. So I hope that brings you a beautiful message to drop into your heart for the season. I know the season can bring a lot of high tension. If you're feeling overwhelmed by it or you want some guidance, I am a psychic empath. So medium and empath, that is. So I do one-on-one sessions. I do 12-week programs. I do coaching programs. So if you are wanting to, I also do 20-minute discovery calls to see if we're a good fit to work together and see what your goal is in working with someone. InvokeHealing.com has my calendar to book those, and I would love to connect with you if you're needing, especially in this holiday season. I know I don't have a lot of open spots right now, but I know there's a few. So if I can help in any way, or even after the new year, let you get inspired by what you are wanting to do for the next coming period of your transition, your life, your awakening, your opening, your unfurlment of your wings, I hope you will reach out to me. So have a wonderful Monday, and I'll probably see you next week. Bye, guys.